for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico with you during your lunch hour. What's up, Rico?
Hey there.
How's the day?
So far, so good.
How was the New Year's? Did you do anything over New Year's Eve?
No, not really.
No New Year's Eve shindigs for you?
Nope.
All right.
Just hung out at home with the wife and the kiddos.
I saw you guys are doing a New Year's tradition.
Yeah, we're starting something new. Some delicious Heavenly Waffles on New Year's Day for breakfast.
Shout out to Heavenly Waffles. Also, shout out, though, to SoCal Taco Shop.
Yes.
They stopped on by. It's a Taco Tuesday here at the station, so they stopped on by. They helped us out, fed our staff with delicious tacos. I scarfed 2 down before we came on the air here. I'll probably get a couple more in before the end of the show at 2 o'clock today.
They are delicious.
So make sure you're tuning in all day long, all week long. Got some exciting things on the horizon. So we'll just tease it that way.
Teehee.
I don't think that's a bad thing to do. So
no, just pay attention.
Yeah, just be paying attention.
Some things might happen. Some things might be said.
It's a new year, and we're going to keep on growing.
New year, new us. And we actually mean it. Kind of.
Somewhat. As always, 402-464-5685. The Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951 are all avenues for you guys to get in touch with the show. You can also follow Rico and I on Twitter, Rico and me on Twitter, Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC are the places there to drop us a follow. Make sure you're subscribing to the 93.7 The Ticket YouTube. It's a new year, so we just got to go through the same old rundown once again. It is a Tuesday. There will be probably many times that we think it's a Monday over the course of this week.
It's a little weird.
But on Monday night, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about college football because you had the first semifinal game between Alabama and Michigan, and then that was capped off in the night by Washington and Texas.
Oh, that game was so good.
And I think that, honestly, if you were to ask a lot of people what their dream scenario of a college football title game would have been in terms of like teams, also factoring in like, I'm tired of seeing this team playing in the national title.
Okay.
I think a lot of people would settle on the Michigan versus Washington. I think for sure with Washington, there were a lot of, I think if you're a non-Texas fan, there was a bulk of us cheering for Washington.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
Now, I also think, like, if you're a casual football fan, you're gravitated towards Washington's offense simply because it's so fun to watch.
Huck it, chuck it football wins every time.
Well, like, we watched
well, not every game, but wins the hearts of people.
Well, here's the thing. We watched the Big 12 title game, and it was Texas and Oklahoma State, obviously, and Texas was that fun offense.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, it just felt like they never really got there. Give credit to Washington's defense in that. But also, when you looked at like what Michael Penix did last night, that was Michael Penix is the type of quarterback that basically you aspire to be when you're in the backyard throwing the football.
Yeah.
Just fit it into every single tight corner, tight space. You have good receivers around you that make some really nice catches. You drop it in the bucket. There was an incredible stat that the broadcaster said last night where it was like on passes that travel over, I think it was like 45 yards. He's completed over like 33% of his passes.
He is strangely deadly accurate on deep balls.
It's incredible.
He sets it in the perfect spot where it's just right in the breadbasket. And a lot of times, the receiver's going to have to slow down a little bit just because, he's tossing the rock really far.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're breaking away from these corners, and he's anticipating that, chucking it, and they're able to get underneath it. Maybe if they have to slow down, they get caught. But a lot of times, especially during the season, he's throwing that ball deep, and they just keep running.
Yeah, so, it's really, really something when you look at Michael Penix and maybe got snubbed to the Heisman. I don't know I don't know if I still select him over Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels' senior season was remarkable.
It was crazy.
And it's if LSU had a mediocre defense, then LSU's in a completely different spot other than playing against Wisconsin in a January 1st bowl game.
Which
They're competing for a playoff spot.
The ReliaQuest Bowl was also a very good bowl game between LSU and Wisconsin. Wish Jaden Daniels would have played, but that's always a hard one with the Heisman and seeing these guys play in the postseason or not play in Jaden Daniels' case, where Michael Penix is going out there playing for a championship and he's still lighting people up. They're 400 plus yards, only 2 touchdowns, but the passes he was making, there was one, I want to say it was the third quarter, where he wasn't able to step up into his throw at all, all arm, wrist flick, and fits it on the sideline to Rome Odunze. Just a deadly accurate throw. And again, he wasn't able to step into his throw. So it's one of those where even with the wrong footwork, he's still deadly accurate. And like you mentioned, the tight windows that he's throwing to, there were a few where he's throwing it and the camera's following the ball, obviously, and you see it just right in between 2 defenders. And I'm sitting there with my jaw on the floor, like, how did he get that through there? How does he have the anticipation for his receivers to, right before they break, he just knows safety's not going to get there in time, corner's not going to be in the right spot. I'm fitting it in this one spot, because if it's over to the right, 2 inches, it's knocked down or picked. If it's over to the left a couple inches, it's behind the receiver, just perfectly in line. And it was just amazing to watch him pick apart a Texas defense that was actually really solid this year.
Well, so I think when you look at, Michael Penix, so his season statistics are this. Played in all 14 games, completed 67% of his passes for 4,648 passing yards, had 35 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, which is actually, one more than he had last year. He also has 4 more touchdown passes this season than he did last year. And a big reason of that is Rome Odunze, right? 4th-year guy. He's obviously he's from he never transferred into Washington, so he's been at Washington all 4 years. 2 straight seasons here with over 1,000 receiving yards. Last year, 75 catches, 1,145 yards. This year, 87 catches with 1,553 yards and 13 touchdowns. And he's 1A, and they have another guy who's 1B last night. They also have Dylan Johnson, who's really, really good out of the backfield. Like, you look at Washington, and Notorious B.I.B. says it on the text line, once again, 402-464-5685, says you got to love the fact that there's a Big Ten team and a future Big Ten team playing for the title. And and that's why I think, like, people might not have wanted to see Alabama. I know the people that I was watching the game with were like, I don't want Alabama to win. I don't want Alabama to be back in the national title. They've won enough. They've been there enough. Texas is kind of that blue blood where it's like they've never been back, like Sam Ehlinger said they were, but like now here they are.
This is the closest.
The closest they've been
since
to
they've
truly
won the
being
title
back
in 2005.
But they also went to the title in 2009.
Yeah,
right after they beat Nebraska, and they broke Husker fans' hearts with the 1 second.
Did they actually? I mean, they did, but
with the 1 second.
Same thing happened last night.
So then when you look at when you look at Texas, people are like, all right, Texas has had their share. Now it's time for Washington and Michigan, right? And you could say the same thing about a blue blood in Michigan, but Washington's kind of that outlier. Washington's is that team that probably, even though they were the 2 seed, people were like, we're not accustomed to seeing a Washington, same with Oregon. We're not accustomed to seeing these guys at the top of the rankings every year like we are seeing them this year. So
they were the least favorite out of the 4.
If you're a casual fan, you're sitting there going, I would like Michigan and Washington. If you're a Big Ten Conference football fan, you're saying there, I want Michigan and Washington. I think there's a lot of happy people in terms of casual fans, not the Alabama fans, not the Texas fans, obviously, that are now pleased with it.
How does the Pac-12 feel?
And also, well, Pac-12, if you're the commissioner, George Kliavkoff, you're sitting there going, dang, I really messed up. I mean, because now you're talking about if he would have taken, because you remember back in that whole TV contract negotiation things with the media rights deal for the Pac-12 conference, prior to the Apple TV deal being publicized,
Mhm.
you'd remember that it was announced that, hey, they turned down an offer from an actual TV network earlier in the negotiations. George Kliavkoff then thought, no, I'm going to be able to get more for our Pac-12 conference.
Yeah.
Thought the Apple TV deal, once it got kind of intense towards the end, was like, nah, we can get more than $30 million a year. Well, now you can't. But you just had 2 top 10 teams. Another team in Oregon was, frankly, I mean, just bombarded Liberty over the weekend.
Roast.
You had Oregon State, who had a really, really good year, who's now members of that team. One is the head coach at Michigan State. The other is now going to be the quarterback at Florida State. You had Washington State, who under rather new head coach Jake Dickert was able to lead them with, guess who? Cam Ward, who's now an NFL-bound quarterback, I guess.
That's a weird situation, but yeah.
And so then you had UCLA and USC on top of that. You had a really good year for the Pac-12. Arizona, thank you. Noah Fida.
Your boy.
So you had a really good year as the conference, and saying, man, maybe we should have taken the deal, because that would have kept everything together for the most part. And if teams decide to leave after you sign the media rights deal, then they'd be paying you a pretty penny too.
Yeah. And you'd still be making your money. And I don't know how many teams leave if you actually have a media rights deal in place. I don't know what their reasoning for leaving was, but I feel like that might have been a big part of it. And it's just crazy. Who do you think I mean, obviously the Pac-12 is going to take credit for the win because they're still members of the Pac-12, but you think the Big Ten is sitting there like, yeah, like this is our team. We're still going to. Does the Big Ten send a tweet out congratulating Washington if they win?
Ooh, you have to,
because the Pac-12 will. If Washington wins the Pac-12 will, because they're Pac-12 members, they still
and they're gonna want to
take
claim
credit.
theirs.
They're like, oh yeah, that's our national championship. The last time we won one, was USC.
It would have been USC.
Yeah, so they're obviously
because
going to take credit.
Oregon never won one.
Nope.
Auburn won it against Oregon. Ohio State won it against Oregon in 2014.
I think it was the only 2 appearances they had.
Trying to think of these playoffs, because Washington had made the playoff. They just didn't
rolled.
they got rolled by Bama in the semis. So I don't know. Like, I look at last night's games also, and this is not like a shot at or a dig at Florida State or anything like that, but people probably will take it that way. Like, those 4 teams all prove that, yeah, you know what? We deserve to be there. Like, there were, unfortunately, if we want to bring in the Georgia and Florida State game, right? And despite it being all speculation on how Florida State would have showed up and what version of them would have played,
none of those players opt out. But does that still make you would you still be good enough?
At the end of the day, there were 5 teams that actually played over the weekend that were good enough for 4 spots, and that the 5th team is Georgia.
You don't think Oregon was? I feel like 6.
Oregon. Their
only
Oregon
2 losses are Washington.
Oregon is different in my eyes because it's Liberty, where you have a lot of group of 5 guys having to enter the portal early to find Power 5 spots.
Yeah.
So Liberty was undermanned. Also, I just think the group of 5 aspect, it's hard to stop Oregon's offense, whether you're Liberty, whether you're Washington, whether you're Michigan. It's difficult to watch.
I get what you're saying.
So
yeah,
out of the top 6, you have 5, I thought, were Georgia. Because even if they had a more formidable opponent, are they still putting up 30? Are they still putting up 20? So that's where I kind of go with Georgia, right? So you have 5 teams that played for 4 spots. Well, now the worst thing that could have happened if you were the committee was that one of those semifinal games yesterday were a blowout. That was the worst thing that you were, more so this year than even in years past, because it was such a controversial,
contested,
decision.
Yeah.
But now you proved to everybody that, yeah, you know what? We picked the right 4 teams. And nobody's sitting here complaining, saying that, yeah, you know what? I would have rather seen so-and-so, whether it's Georgia, whether it's Florida, whether it was Florida State, whether it was Oregon, whether it was Ohio State even. I would have rather seen them get curb stomped than the games we watched yesterday.
And
nobody's
wonderful
sitting there.
Football games.
The casual fans aren't sitting here saying that. I'm not sitting here saying that. The businesses, the money makers, the big TV companies certainly aren't saying that.
They loved every single second of that. Of these 2 games. This is back-to-back years of hotly contested games going down to almost the wire. Last year you had Michigan and TCU, which was just a barn burner of points, and then you had Ohio State and Georgia.
It was like somewhat of a
It wasn't a blowout. It was just a lot of points and no defense.
Yeah.
And then you had Ohio State and Georgia with a missed kick at the end that could have won it by a guy who never misses. And then this year you have, a lower scoring, defensive battle with Alabama and Michigan. And then again, a high flying, offense heavy Washington and Texas game. So if you're the committee, back-to-back years, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Again, as long as this national championship doesn't end like last year's did.
So, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. So now you just hope that you don't have a blowout in the national championship, which I don't think you will.
No.
Right? Like Michigan provides this real balanced offense. Well, both of them have really balanced offenses. But like Michigan provides this, tough, kind of old school feel with a guy like Blake Corum, who is now at the top of a lot of rushing lists in Michigan football history, which is really something to write home about. They have a really strong defense. Jesse Minter had an unbelievable performance planned for his guys. Unbelievable. Alabama's offense had slowly started to look more and more like the Alabamas that we're accustomed to seeing up until when it mattered most in crunch time, right? And I don't have an issue. We've seen it with Nebraska quite often, where they spread them out. They try to get numbers on the line. You try to hope that your guys just win the one-on-one battles up front. And Michigan, when it mattered most in overtime, how did they beat Alabama? In the trenches. They blew up the line. Now they took advantage of some really bad snaps from Alabama. But when it mattered most, despite Alabama spreading them wide, they still figured out a way to win in the trenches and get some penetration.
Alabama's center struggled.
So then we could talk about it from at the core for football. What's step one? You got to win in the trenches. You have to, and because that's what lost Alabama that game yesterday. Was that they just continued to get beat time and time again at the line of scrimmage.
You talk about in crunch time when it matters most. When it mattered most, it like you said, it came down to the trenches. Your right tackle gets blown up, off the line on a play that looked like it actually would have worked if he follows the guard to the left side.
Yeah, and that was the thing with me is I did, and I said it earlier this morning. I didn't have an issue with the play. I had an issue with the execution piece of it. I thought the execution was really poor.
Just gets shoved back 3-4 yards, and that's the reason that your quarterback trips over his leg.
Yeah. Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and on Allo channel 951. I hope everybody's New Year's was good. Nothing too exciting, but now it's a 4-day week, and then we're back to some bit of normalcy, I suppose. But no, feel free to follow us on Twitter, Nick_Sainert at Radio Rico AC. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Husker volleyball gets a big addition through the transfer portal. And I was actually asked a question by a mutual friend of ours about the transfer portal, about the Creighton coaches, Coach Booth, her comments. And I want to get Rico's thoughts on it here throughout the show as well. Nebraska basketball is getting ready to open up Big Ten conference play against the Indiana Hoosiers on Wednesday. Husker women's basketball plays on Thursday against Wisconsin on the road. Then they play the Pac PBA game against the Hoosiers on Sunday. There's a lot to dissect as we are approaching the football offseason. Just one more college football game remaining, and we'll continue to dive into it throughout the course of the show. We're here till 2 o'clock. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on this Tuesday. We'll be right back on the Happy Hour, sponsored by the Empire Fence and Netting, right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting mainly sunny skies. We'll see an afternoon high of around 39. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with patchy fog is possible late. We'll see a low around 20. And tomorrow, more patchy, even freezing fog possible as well, especially in the morning. Then mainly sunny skies with the high around 35. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
WWL WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. Ticketmaster.
This is Jeff Essing, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Concrete Industries, a Nebco company, has immediate job openings for precast production laborers. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $20 per hour and a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. We like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is offering some huge holiday discounts from now until January 2nd. On select new Chevrolet vehicles, we are offering $8,000 off MSRP or 1.9% financing. Yes, you heard right. That's $8,000 off or 1.9% financing on select select new Chevrolets. We also have some huge discounts on our new GMC inventory, so stop on in or check us out online at copplecars.com. Includes finance, trade, and Costco bonus with roof credit. Stock number C299464.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert
Even before you start. That was a preemptive shh.
and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I already had someone created in my image. He's evil, he wants to take over the world, and he fits easily into most overhead storage bins.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico with you guys. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Sutter Heyman text line open for you guys as well. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page. Make sure you like our Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all those good places as well as all of our hosts. So we got good stuff coming your way over the next couple of weeks. I mean, you guys aren't going to have to wait long to hear the exciting stuff going on around the 93.7 The Ticket studio. So a little bit of college football news during the break. Minnesota quarterback Ethan Kaliakmanis has made his transfer destination known. He is going to be staying in the Big Ten Conference. Ethan will be going to the Greg Schiano Rutgers Scarlet Knights to continue his college career. Kaliakmanis this season, just a sophomore, 6'4", 210 pounds, 1,838 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. So obviously, Ethan Kaliakmanis, Minnesota's former offensive coordinator, is currently at Rutgers, and so Ethan will team back up with him. He was 24 for 44 and for 196 passing yards with a touchdown and an interception in their 13-10 win against the Huskers back in the first game of the season. But Ethan Kaliakmanis is going to be a Scarlet Knight, staying in the Big Ten, which also, this was a spot that I thought is a little bit better than what I was expecting Ethan Kaliakmanis to go.
Is it? I didn't know. I didn't like.
A lot of spots are filling up.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Ethan Kaliakmanis. I know that I remember last year, after their quarterback went down, like to end the first half, he comes in the second half and leads them to the victory over Nebraska. And then this year, you're expecting, maybe a step forward for him, and it's just kind of mediocre quarterback play from Minnesota. But I guess you're right. Rutgers is kind of on the uptick. Greg Schiano's got Rutgers looking pretty good, looking like a decent squad. Their defense still really, really solid, and now they've got a quarterback who I don't really know what he offers Rutgers in terms of, is it better than what they've had?
Well, so what we know about Ethan is he's much better with his legs than like a Tanner Morgan was, right? Minnesota also went out and got the best FCS quarterback in the entire transfer portal. That I'm
Holy Cross, right? No.
Hold on one second. I need to make sure I get the name correctly.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so Minnesota is able to go get the quarterback out of the FCS level, right? That had over 50 passing touchdowns and just some insane stats, lit up the FCS level. But nonetheless, Ethan Kaliakmanis transfers out, goes to Rutgers. What we remember about Ethan compared to Tanner Morgan, much better with his legs. So there's that. He provides that running element that we saw maybe from a Noah Vedral, from some other guys, Gavin Wimsatt at Rutgers. So now Ethan Kaliakmanis will go in and
doesn't have to learn a new offense. Like you said, they've got Minnesota's old offensive coordinator, so he's pretty comfortable with it. So you would expect,
there it is.
I mean, honestly, with that, you would expect him to be the day one starter.
So it is Max Brosmer. That's who it is, from New Hampshire.
Damn.
Max Brosmer was the quarterback that Minnesota went out and got to be their new quarterback going forward here in 2024. So little news in the Big Ten there. Moving on to other transfer portal news, just in a different sport. How about this one? Nebraska volleyball picks up a big commitment from an outside hitter, Taylor Landfair, from the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now, it was interesting because there's been a lot of just kind of uneasy feelings about the volleyball transfer portal because of Coach Booth's from Creighton, her comments on the transfer portal and the tampering happens every single year, nonstop throughout the sport of college volleyball. Well, Landfair reposted it on Twitter, or excuse me, on Instagram, her explanation for why she's transferring, why it was Nebraska. But we'll get to that in a second, but strictly on the court, Rico, you're going to have outside hitters, Taylor Landfair, who's an All-American caliber type of player.
Big Ten Player of the Year in 2022.
You have
a step back this year.
So you have, Minnesota as a team took a step back, 17-13.
Oh, their coach,
if I remember
retires.
correctly. Yeah, they were 17-13. And you reminded me that, don't forget, Laney Choboy was at one time committed to Minnesota. So I'll get to you in a second. But an outside hitter, Nebraska's going to have Landfair, Merritt Beeson, and Harper Murray next season for Nebraska. It just continues to add talent. I tweeted it out. Continues to add talent when it feels like you couldn't get any better at some positions.
Yeah, and that position is full because of those three you mentioned. And then, oh, by the way, you have Lindsey Krause, who missed a lot of this season due to various injuries, and Allie Batenhorst, who stepped in mightily and did a great job for her. You had two outside hitters in Hayden Kubik and Caroline Juravicius transfer out, where Caroline's going to Penn State, which is the same university her dad went to play football. Hayden still hasn't made her decision. Then you have the I guess the weirdest thing about Taylor Landfair transferring to Nebraska isn't that she's transferring to Nebraska. It's that Nebraska is very full in that outside hitter position, and they only have two middle blockers.
Yeah.
After Maggie Mendelson decides to transfer out, focus on volleyball, so she won't be playing basketball going forward, but she's transferring out to focus on volleyball to a different school. So that leaves you with only two middle blockers with Becca Alec and Andy Jackson. You'll have a junior and a sophomore in that middle blocker room. You might need some more help there, but right now you've got so many outside hitters. I don't know who's going to play, who's going to be able to be in that rotation, but you've got three all-star, all-American calibers, like you mentioned, Merritt Beeson, Harper Murray, and now Taylor Landfair, that it's going to be interesting to see what John Cook does going forward. And, oh, by the way, you've got 14 scholarship athletes for a sport that allows you to have 12.
So how about this? And this comes from the article in CBS News. How about this? CBS News picked up Landfair's commitment.
It was a massive transfer.
So, and to add to Rico's point here, in this article, it says, what role will Landfair take on? It's all slightly unclear. Nebraska, no seniors this season, returns its entire starting lineup next fall, which means she'll be fighting for a spot on the outside against seniors Lindsey Krause, Allie Batenhorst, and reigning Big Ten Freshman of the Year Harper Murray. They didn't even add Merritt Beeson in there.
Well, she's an opposite.
Yeah, so opposite. Yes. Landfair said, I am so excited for my next journey of being a Husker. It's a highly competitive program, and I am up for the challenge. Nebraska head coach John Cook has previously said he dislikes when programs build their roster by collecting top transfers out of the portal, and he especially dislikes it when players transfer within the same conference. But he still picked up Landfair from Minnesota and will have several options for his starting lineup next year. Now, going back to Landfair's quote about it's a highly competitive program, and I'm up for the challenge. Think about this. A 2022 Big Ten Player of the Year, Taylor Landfair from Minnesota, is willing to transfer in without a promise or a guarantee that she is going to be a starter and still wants to be here.
There's an opportunity to do something that Minnesota was not going to offer, and that's compete for a championship.
Bingo. And that's what she wrote in her big statement.
Yeah, after their coach abruptly retires and moves into like an associate AD role or whatever, and they go out and they hire, I believe it was Washington's old head coach. I can't remember his first name. His last name's Cook. It just didn't, the fit just didn't work with Taylor and the new head coach and what they were trying to do. And again, she was trying to compete for championships, and that was what Minnesota was kind of getting close to doing. They were one of the better teams in the Big Ten for a few years, and then last year, as we mentioned, they took a step back. So her looking to compete for a championship, maybe it wasn't good. She apparently narrowed her list down towards the end to Wisconsin and Nebraska.
Yeah.
And then something happened. She wasn't going to Wisconsin, so she ends up at Nebraska. So it's an interesting dynamic, but oh, by the way, she has potentially 2 years remaining to play volleyball, because there was a year earlier, I think it was 2021, where she missed most of the season with an abdominal injury. So she'll be able to potentially get a medical hardship waiver. And outside of this year, which would be her grad year, she'd have another year remaining to play with Nebraska, where, you're going to be losing a Merritt Beeson and Allie Baton-Horst to Lindsay Krause, and you'll have to have somebody else to step in with Harper Murray, who will be a junior at that time.
So, I mean, excuse me. Now, so once again, if you're just now joining us, Taylor Landfair announced over the weekend yesterday that she was going to be transferring to Nebraska. As Rico said, redshirt junior, 6'5". She's the outside hitter for Golden Gopher. She was a first team All-American in 2022. Obviously, we mentioned it, where she was a Big Ten Player of the Year in 2022, and has had multiple accolades. Obviously, all Big Ten first team in 2020, in 2021, 2022, and 2023. All Big Ten first team in 2021, 2022, and 2023. So 3-time Big Ten first team selection. So
an absolute cannon of an arm.
Yeah, there you go. And so,
and kind of going back to what John Cook said about the transfer portal and teams building their rosters with the transfer portal, there were a lot of nasty, mean comments on her transfer post about Nebraska and about John Cook and about his comments after they got swept by Texas and saying he doesn't like teams that do that. Well, if you look at Nebraska, since John Cook has taken over, they have never had more than 2 transfers on their roster at any time. And again, this year they'll have Merritt Beeson and Taylor Landfair on their roster. That's 2 transfers. So it's not that he's building his roster through the transfer portal. He's supplementing his roster via the transfer portal, which again, to me, that's a part of what the transfer portal should be. Whereas I don't want to take shots at teams, but like a team like Texas,
say it. There it is.
A team like Texas, where they brought in 5 transfers this offseason.
Yeah.
5. They brought in another setter when they have a setter who is coming into her own. One of their greatest weapons is her, savvy setter dump, where she just hits it over the net and gets some nice points for him. They brought in another setter, an all Big 12 setter from Baylor.
Yeah, Rico.
They're not going to run a 6-2, right? What's going to happen? I don't understand. I don't understand exactly what's going to happen there, but you're not bringing in an all Big Ten. I think she was the setter of the year also, the Baylor transfer who came in. She's not going to Texas to sit the bench, and you're not going to sit. I believe it's Ella Swindle, who's their current setter. I don't think she's going to, take a back seat after winning a national championship with this team to allow somebody else to take her spot. So are they going to go and run a 6-2? Are you going to take Ella Swindle out of the front row, where, again, one of her best moves and one of Texas's one of their higher percentage plays on offense is her setter dump? Like, it's confusing, but you bring in 5 different transfers, including Kentucky's best middle blocker, I believe is what they brought in. Like, that's kind of what John Cook was talking about, without taking shots at anybody, because he won't. But hey, I don't have to worry about that. I guess I will. Look, Texas builds through the transfer portal. Nebraska's just supplementing their roster. Again, no more than 2 transfers at any time since John Cook's been the coach.
I also think a couple things back to that point. So just for more context, Reagan Rutherford is the Kentucky transfer that they brought in Texas. That is who we're talking about at a middle blocker. Then you have Avery Carlson, who is the center from Baylor that you're talking about. She was the Big 12 newcomer of the year in 2022. It says here. But then she was also all region from the AVCA, which is basically like the AP pool for volleyball, in 2023. So 2 really good players. So obviously we know Whitney Lowenstein is going to Texas as well, where Nebraska, just for more context, Taylor Landfair, 6'5". She's going to be the tallest, tied for the tallest player on Nebraska's roster,
her and Allie,
with Allie Baton-Horst, who's also 6'5". Maggie Mendelson was 6'5" as well, but she's now on her way out. So a big addition though for Nebraska. And when you look at, like Rico said, the transfer portal and stuff, Nebraska's been able to supplement, and that's the big key there, with Nebraska. I also, as somebody put it out on the text line, the Virginia Pirate, that says if you have a player like that wants to come in, I'm pretty sure you'd be willing to change your philosophy a bit. I also think to a certain extent, you're sitting there going, you're sitting there saying, listen, the Nebraska offer is pretty valuable at this point for volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not making just a multitude of offers out and saying, yeah, go ahead. If we want, we'll take anybody. Like your selection pool is so small because you're only looking at, I mean, frankly, Nebraska, can they always get better? Yes. Right. But in this instance where you have no seniors, everybody's returning. Yes, you're having a couple of departures, but it's because you're bringing in some really good recruits, and Sky Pierce being one of them. Like, you look at it as, do we need to continue supplementing our roster? Or, hey, you know what? We're going to go after the top echelon of players.
Mm-hmm.
And if they say no, so be it. But guess what? We're competing for national titles year in and year out. So very rarely are they saying no.
I mean, if a player like Taylor Landfair's caliber says that they're interested in your program, like, you're going to do everything in your power to make it work. And I think the Virginia Pirate is talking about the setter going to Texas.
Yep.
But again, changing your philosophy, that's taking a massive offensive weapon out of the front row for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that you are, now supplemented with tons of talent. So a 6'2" would make sense, but it's a little complicated to get that going because you're swapping setters in, every couple rotations. So you're going to have to make sure that your hitters are used to getting sets from both of them, that nobody is off even a little bit. Because if they are and they're throwing things off, you're going to have to go back to something else. I don't know. It's confusing. It's going to be interesting what Texas does. But an unnamed text says they might convert Taylor to middle blocker. They're not, with her talent on the pins, they're not moving her. They're not moving her into the middle.
Here we go. Somebody's going to have to go. Just continue bringing in competition, I guess. But that's kind of like the standard. That's the standard. That's where you're at.
That's what you want.
Number one recruit. By the way, Taylor Landfair, number one recruit in her recruiting class overall, coming out of high school. Let's take a break. We'll wrap up the noon hour coming up next right here. Happy Hour sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's Cheese Spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's Cheese Spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's Cheese Spread today at your local grocery store.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. Ticketmaster.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
It's fishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
I'm Christy. I used to smoke cigarettes. I had smoker's cough and severe shortness of breath, and I knew I had to quit. Then I tried e-cigarettes, but I just ended up using both. I really didn't start to get better until I quit smoking completely. My tip to you is just cutting down on the number of cigarettes you smoke isn't enough.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy new year. They are thankful for many things from 2023 and hope that 2024 brings prosperity for you and starts off well for everyone in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
When I gave you the cookie, I heard very clearly, I don't think about you, Schmidt.
Why would I think about you?
Because we're friends. We're not animals.
We're men. The only time a man is allowed to think about another man is when that man is Jay Cutler.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You guys have it so messed up. Welcome back in. Happy Hour.
We might need
93.7 The Ticket.
we need a podcast. I need some answers.
What's up, Jay?
Well, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How's your Tuesday? It feels like a Monday.
It's a very eventful Tuesday.
Yeah, I hear
Very
you.
eventful. Tuesday is about to be a very eventful 3-4 weeks.
There you go.
Right? Give or take 5 weeks.
That's what we've been telling people. There's a lot coming.
And you're not lying.
Yeah. So, well, that's a good thing I'm not lying. So
that is true.
I have to repent.
You are an honest young gentleman.
There you go.
You represent Pius X very well.
Anyway, Jay, the reason we brought you in for
What's
one
up?
reason and one reason only.
Okay.
Cam Ward. We had this conversation last week.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's announced on Instagram or wherever he announced it that he's going to the NFL.
A 5-second video.
DJ Uiagalelei
is going to Florida
State. Going to Florida State. This worked out as well as possible for DJ. And as poorly as possible for Cam Ward.
Yeah.
What's the thought process?
I don't know. It has to be he talked and or priced himself out of a position. So what? And it's a lot like. Okay, here's an example. Look, Jim Harbaugh is a great coach, but it's like the example of when he got on the plane to go to Minnesota. While he was in air, I know for a fact that the deal was done. All he had to do is not mess it up. So by the time he landed, went to dinner, toured the facilities, and met all the powers that met Ziggy and Zaggy or whatever all the brothers were, all the wolves. I shouldn't be saying it. They're great, and they've been great to my family. My dad met Mr. Wolf and all that. Somewhere, somehow, he messed it up. So either his agent tried to ask for an enormous amount of money that wasn't originally in the budget, or he, in this case, Jim Harbaugh wanted too much control, which meant he wanted to be head coach, GM, and then essentially vice president of the Vikings.
Just run the team. So
in Cam Ward's, an analogy is, so if he got there and look, Miami has a really good NIL collective. A lot of money down there. Very private school, small camp, but a ton of money. They know that you needed him, right? Because you lost Van Dyke to Wisconsin, which is weird. He's already on the sideline with a number 10 number 10 jersey on.
Whatever, man.
Yeah. And so he went out to eat with Rick Ross and all those, and I think Ray Lewis or Rohan Marley. So he was set. They're not doing that if you're set. So something happened there when he left. Because generally, okay, I'm committing, I'm coming. So I think he tried to play this. I'm trying to pit one school against another. And DJ just sat back in the wings. I thought it was a foregone conclusion he was going to Michigan State.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't, but okay. But you know what?
The backup went there, right?
Yeah,
But even then.
But he's a great bridge. He knows the head coach and all that. And maybe the head coach wanted to start with a younger guy and kind of come up together. And you got to think Florida State has better wide receiver corps probably right now than Michigan State. And you haven't heard anything from DJ. Slides right into Florida State, right at essentially as soon as Michigan, had the roses Michigan had the roses. And then Cam Ward, I'm going to the pros. Well, right now, he has a day 3 grade.
Yep.
So if he doesn't have a really good pro day and also his interview sessions, he won't get drafted. So now you're thinking of where you can go and be free. Now you still can make it because there's a Gardner Minshew's and there's a ton of great quarterbacks and go. But you're passing up guaranteed money and a higher profile university to go take a chance where your grade you're not going to go from realistically day 3 grade to day 1 or day 2, early day 2 to make it worth it to go to the pros. And I think this wide receiver or this quarterback class is extremely deep. I think if you go and play 1 year, you can kind of really forecast and see how it is. If you went to Miami, you got a good situation. If you chose to go to Florida State, a good situation. And let's not forget, there's a reason why Ohio State didn't pull it on you right from the get-go, but your name was there, so that lets you know that Ohio State liked you as much that you were their first choice, so much that McCord jumped in the portal probably too early, and he's at Syracuse. Yeah. So even a soft landing spot, which Ryan Day needs a veteran quarterback to run his deal, you're not there because you know what? Devin Brown didn't play so good in the bowl game that you're like. Yeah. So you have more negotiating power, and you probably tried to call up there Columbus, and they gave you the red button.
Yeah.
Well, and they also turned. I mean, they had to turn to Lincoln Kienholz also for a while, and
he had a little bit of name
fine.
in there,
Yeah,
and he but still,
He was the
went-
4-star that Dylan left.
and he was not.
Thank
But
you,
but
there you go.
again, he wasn't ready. The game was moving way too fast.
So Cam Ward, according to CBS Sports, listed as somewhere in the vicinity of like 9 or 10th in the quarterback rankings for the draft, right? Because you have guys obviously Caleb Williams, Drake Mays of the world, Jaden Daniels, Quinn Ewers, Ewers is coming back. Excuse me, Bo Nix, Michael Penix,
That's 5.
Joe Milton. So there's a lot of these
Yeah,
guys
so-
that are listed ahead of him.
That's a nice top 5.
That top 5 is not going to get touched. His best bet is to go from 10 to 6. Joe Milton, before the season, was thought of to be a potential first rounder because you think of the arm talent. Remember when he was at Michigan, started as a freshman, did pretty well. Then all of a sudden they went into the bye week, and then he never played. Then he ended up at Tennessee. He was supposed to be the second coming of the guy they had last year that went to Detroit.
I was just gonna say Hendon Hooker.
And he played well when he came in, and you thought that he was just gonna and he never came to fruition. So if he can go leapfrog those guys, he's in a good situation. But it's a big hill to climb.
But before we get out of here and onto the 1 o'clock hour, out of all the quarterbacks that have entered the portal and found landing spots, who's orchestrated it the best?
Well, anybody that decided quick. So the Riley Leonards, Dante Moore. I would even say the Morris kid from North Carolina State did a really good job.
Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel did a phenomenal. I don't see the advantage of going to Oregon. I really don't. I think Oklahoma's on the come up. I think they know and they love you, and if you look at his Twitter and social media, his NIL deal that he did with his offensive lineman is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And Oregon obviously can match that. Oregon's losing a lot. That's a lateral move to me.
Will Rogers entered early. It took him a while, but he found a nice spot.
It was always going to be Washington, though.
And he kind of was under the radar.
Yeah,
big deal, right?
He was always going to Washington. That was the only school you ever heard.
Well, it was they get the new coach, and it's like, oh, maybe he is going to.
He was gone quick,
and then he's like, yeah, no,
yeah, you're looking, but and I like, what DJ did. I think he was very strategic for a guy that for one of the guys that waited the longest. I felt like.
Yeah,
he had a good mindset about it. Maybe because he's been through the process before. Yeah. Maybe that's it. You know what I mean? Where he knew like, okay, this is what fits me. I think they need him. They will appreciate him. The one guy that I question, the only reason I think that it will maybe work out for him because they have a new coach and he's going closer to home is Kyle McCord.
Okay. Last but not
I don't know. I think that's I think he didn't handle it
Didn't handle it well.
His was so weird.
It was too quick.
Yeah.
It was impulsive.
It went from Syracuse. I don't even know if Syracuse was on the map, and then all of a sudden
was impulsive.
Right. Yes. It was you're scared of boogeyman.
Yeah. It wasn't even the decision and how long the decision took. It was him leaving.
Yeah. You know what it's like though. This is just the quick news because we're going to be calling the game on Thursday.
Yeah.
There was a really good player that was at Southwest last year. And it was rumored that he was going to transfer somewhere. And it sent even kids I coached at that time. I was coaching freshmen. It sent them in a frenzy. Yeah. You had parents talking about I'm leaving. I'm just like, the dude's going to be here for a year, and you were. So it's the same thing. Yep. Kyle McCord heard somebody was coming. I'm out. Yeah, and I think that's where it would happen. People got scared of the boogeyman.
There's two spots that are really intriguing for me personally, and it's because Malachi Nelson's no longer at USC. Maybe they want to go Miller Ross or whatever his name is, Miller Moss.
He made a lot of money.
He did, but so it's USC and then Ohio State. Which one does Will Howard end up at? Because NFL, the fact that Will Howard, it's a similar situation as like Cam Ward.
The fact that even crossed your mind.
There is no way that you can sit here and be like, yeah, you know what? I think the best move for me right now is to go to the NFL.
No,
it can't be. Number one, from a player and development standpoint, but also from a financial standpoint. If you're all about the money, then you would be getting paid way more at Ohio State, at USC, Cam Ward, if you're at Florida State or Miami, than your rookie deal.
If I'm Will Howard, I'm going to Ohio State.
That's what I think that's what's going to happen.
How much does Will Howard move the needle if he goes to USC?
No, not after Moss lit it up.
No,
because you have players already going to bat for him for next year. They know him. He's been there. He's obviously proved himself. Lincoln Riley must have had some trust in him to let him throw the ball like that. I mean, you don't do that by a fluke, excuse me. But I think that Will Howard to Ohio State is the best thing for him.
Yeah, I would.
There's
think so
nowhere
too.
else to go.
Yeah,
no. I think there's also,
unless he wants to go to like Wake Forest or something and just be totally off the map.
You go to Miami. They're still looking for their quarterback.
Yeah, that could be.
Maybe more surrounding talent. Ohio State or USC.
USC.
Okay.
I mean,
is Buka coming back? Is he a sophomore?
Buka's coming back. That Noah Rogers just entered the portal. He was a 5-star.
You know what?
Receiver.
I take that back.
I would think Ohio State.
I would
you
say
have
Ohio State.
Trevion Henderson in the backfield.
Trevion Henderson. You got Abuka coming back. You got the number one receiver coming in. You had the number one receiver last year, number 17. That's actually pretty good.
Yep.
They had the guy that was hurt. They always have weird numbers. He's like number 7.
Yeah.
He's really good. And actually, Ohio State's tight end number 88 looks like he looks like more of an NFL
That's
prospect.
not Stover anymore.
No.
But he's Stover. With 12 personnel, they both play, and he's a stud.
Wasn't it? No, Stover was still there this year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's number 6,
and then he's gone after this year.
Yeah.
So all right, well, that's crazy. Patriots 3rd overall pick. They taking Marvin Harrison.
I don't think.
No,
I don't think Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about this?
I don't think he's available. A and B. I don't have confidence in Bill Belichick making a pick because he is the GM and his first round picks have been terrible.
When you're looking at
and they don't have a quarterback.
When you're, I was just going to say when you're looking at NFL potential, NBA, it's a lot of body type.
Yeah,
right. Like we saw that with like Delano Banton.
It's all body type.
Body type. Bryce McGowan's also. In the NFL, specifically quarterback, is there a way Michael Penix does enough to jump Drake May? Drake May is your prototypical build for a traditional NFL type of offense.
He's the safer pick.
Is there any way Penix jumps either Drake May or Caleb Williams for that matter? Any way?
If he has another game like he did last night, it's over. You got it.
I mean,
first of all, Michael Penix is 6'2" and he can sling it. Yeah. And he's got pinpoint accuracy.
You want to talk about strong arm with Joe Milton? It's Michael Penix.
Michael Penix can throw the ball.
That's a really good comp with those two guys.
I think he still has, it needs to be, I hate to even say this, that he needs to be refined or get used to the program, because even if you take Caleb Williams and Drake May, number one, they're going to go through the same rookie struggles as well. I think Michael Penix, with his leadership skills, don't get highlighted enough. I think if you find a team that actually gets in and gets to know him and does a really good job of interviewing him, you could do it. And you need a stable force at quarterback at the NFL level. And none of them are going to take any of those crappy teams to the Super Bowl. Bears, you're not going. So you got to make sure that you have a plan in place, because the worst thing that the Bears did, draft Justin Fields and gave him no help. And then when he starts to do well, be like, yeah, we don't want you anymore.
Yeah. That's what's so weird, because they're kind of in a conundrum here, are the Bears, where they've played some better football these last few weeks.
And it could be smokescreen.
It could
I've
be.
been on teams like
okay.
that.
So then that's the case, because then you're kind of doing the same thing, though, to where I guess you have DJ Moore in this case, if you bring in a Caleb Williams. Is there any potential for a trade down, taking Marvin Harrison and continuing with Justin Fields?
Yeah, there's a scenario. It's gonna depend on if the GM gets to keep his job and what he has to do, what type of pressure, and you got to hire. And also, when you're going to hire a new coach, that's
Eberflus is coming back.
Did they say it?
They said it. Eberflus is on the way back.
Smokescreen.
If I'm Justin Fields, my age, I got to get up out of here.
You want out?
Yeah, I got
take Caleb Williams number 1. Get me out of here.
Go right here. Send me to Atlanta for a 2nd round pick and let them eat it.
Please get me out.
You're just doing it with Carolina picks, anyways.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah. Sports,
if I'm the Bears, the Chicago Bears,
just over the weekend,
that works out for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Because the Vikings are on the downslide. The Packers, they're not there. So Detroit,
your Lions might run the conference.
Yeah, you might run it for a while.
Yeah, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network said Matt Eberflus is expected to be brought back for a 3rd season next year. There you go.
I guess.
9-23 in 2 seasons with Chicago.
Bring him back.
So there you go. Speaking of Brad Allen, the refereeing crew for the Lions game, back on prime time this next Sunday against on ESPN. Or in a prime slot, not prime time. Steelers Ravens game on ESPN Sunday afternoon.
I'll say this, man.
3:30 p.m.
Being a ref is a hard job. It is.
Yeah.
But when you're that bad and you do something that you at some point in time you have to take some full accountability. Don't tell me you heard 70 when 70 didn't say anything to you. You just made an excuse.
And it was also not lined up in any spot to where he would be a receiver.
Right. He was like right guard.
Yeah, he was on interior.
And here's the worst problem is Dan Campbell and them. They said he drew the play out.
He talked to him before.
He drew it out and showed him before the game.
Mm-hmm.
So just say you messed up, man. But here's what people don't understand. This is why it's such a big deal and why the refs should be accountable. Jobs, families, careers are on the line. Because when in the way it goes, if Detroit got the number 2 seed and say they got to the NFC Championship, that solidifies a lot of fringe veterans another year back in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That solidifies your career. You could have an all-pro career next year. Then you're not a salary cap casualty in the way they draft, right? Dan Campbell, I'm sure he has incentives and bonuses on it. I know Aaron Glenn has incentive bonuses in his. The offensive coordinator, you could even with the home playoff game, you can up it if he decides to stay or can keep him to stay. There's a ton of things that are going on with that. But you have to think, though, did they really want Dallas to win?
Well, here's the thing, Jay. Was there any way Jerry Jones was going to let him lose when Johnson was getting his ring ceremony?
No way. And the only reason is because it's
no way.
Not a chance.
No way the Cowboys were losing that game.
You had to move heaven and earth to get Jerry Jones to honor Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it just had to be the end of it. Roger Goodell said, "Listen, man, I know you mad at Jimmy, but he made you a lot of money. You on the back nine. You ain't even on the back nine of your career. You got 3 holes left in your golf, like equated to golf.
Yep.
You got to do this. You already did Tom Landry wrong.
Yep.
You fired him the first day you were there. You got to do right by him.
So Jerry said, "Okay, if I'm doing this, we're winning.
We got to win." The Lions would have the number 2 seed at worst.
We got to win. And anytime that I have my little pictures pop up on the internet, they better not get on the.
They got to be taken off. They got to be taken off.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Jay.
How about them Cowboys?
Thanks, dude. There he is, Jay Foreman. Coming up next, Rico and I continue to break it down. We talk Husker hoops on the other side as more ESPN and bracketology predictions have been released. Where's Nebraska? Are they even a part of it? We'll let you know. Also, they start Big Ten Conference play on Wednesday, 8 p.m. tip. And we'll tell you why that's a good thing when we return, coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's cheese spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's cheese spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's cheese spread today at your local grocery store.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy new year. They are thankful for many things from 2023 and hope that 2024 brings prosperity for you and starts off well for everyone in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting mainly sunny skies. We'll see an afternoon high of around 39. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with patchy fog is possible. Late, we'll see a low around 20. And tomorrow, more patchy, even freezing fog possible as well, especially in the morning. Then mainly sunny skies with the high around 35. Meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com. where they're committed to you every step of the way.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC. We'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to show our appreciation, Coppell is offering some huge holiday discounts from now until January 2nd. On select new Chevrolet vehicles, we are offering $8,000 off MSRP or 1.9% financing. Yes, you heard right. That's $8,000 off or 1.9% financing on select new Chevrolets. We also have some huge discounts on our new GMC inventory, so stop on in or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. Includes finance, trade, and Costco bonus with roof credit. Stock number C2 99464.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now at Ticketmaster.
Concrete Industries, a Nebco company, has immediate job openings for precast production laborers. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $20 per hour and a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in the 1 o'clock hour of the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Huge thanks to Empire Fence and Netting for their support as always. Nick Sainert and Rico joining you as usual, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. You can also follow us on Twitter, Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. Good stuff in the first hour of the show and the noon hour where we had college football playoff conversations. Obviously, a little bit of Nebraska volleyball transfer portal news as Taylor Landfair makes it official that she is going to be transferring from Minnesota to the Husker volleyball program.
I'm so excited about next season.
About Taylor Landfair.
I'm so excited to see Taylor Landfair live in person for Nebraska.
Try to quantify this for us here, Rico.
Okay.
Biggest transfer portal addition since. Is this bigger than Merritt Beeson?
Yes.
At the time when they transferred, obviously we know how valuable Merritt was to this team.
Like right away,
season.
like Merritt Beeson transferring
right away.
Merritt Beeson transferring. You
Is this
felt
like,
really good
is
about,
this like
but
the Kelsey Robinson-esque type of deal?
Oh, maybe. I say this is one of, again, she was the conference player of the year 2 years ago. And the only reason she had a down year this year is they were dealing with a new coach who, again, their coach decides to leave a couple, I think it was like a month. It was a couple months before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the off season, but still they had to go out and find a new coach, and just an off season with a first year coach there. So, but again, player of the year 2 years ago, like that's, you don't see players of the year transferring all that often.
It's monumental. So
that's a three-time All-American, three-time All Big Ten conference player, first team. Like, it's massive.
So once again, we talked to that in the second segment of the noon hour. So if you missed any of the show, and then we also had Jay Foreman in for Cam Ward and Will Howard, NFL quarterback type of discussions. So if you missed any of that, check it out on the podcast page here in a very short amount of time. Now it's time to kind of turn the page and discuss Nebraska men's basketball, because they are getting ready to start the conference slate coming up on Wednesday. Now, obviously, they started it previously in the season. They are 1-1 in the conference, dropped a heartbreaker against Minnesota, disappointing performance there up in Minneapolis, but then backed that up with a home victory against Michigan State. Michigan State would then go on and destroy number 6 Baylor at the time by 20 plus points on a neutral site. So that Michigan State win looks pretty darn good. Minnesota,
by 30 at one point.
Yeah, Minnesota has not had as bad of a season, I think, as maybe some expected, even without Dawson Garcia. Dawson Garcia just returned for the Golden Gophers a couple of games ago. Teams have been somewhat on a hiatus, right, throughout the holiday season. Nebraska returned to play on Friday. They dominated South Carolina State in the fashion that you would expect. I think that was also a game where we went into it saying, all right, we expect Nebraska to win. Now, will they be able to win in the fashion that we expect them to?
Will it be a comfortable win? Will you see some bench players get some minutes? And that's what happened.
Nebraska wins comfortably. I think that the margin was 28 or 30 or something like that. But Nebraska wins comfortably against South Carolina State. And throughout a bulk of that game, it was a lot of Matar Diop, Eli Rice, Cale Jacobson got some first half minutes. You're seeing a lot of reserves played, right? So the starters and their stats aren't necessarily going to jump off the page, but it was also a lot of maybe just continuing to rest up and make sure you're fully healthy for what this grind of the Big Ten schedule is. So now you look at Nebraska basketball's Big Ten slate, right? And we've discussed it a few times here.
You're jumping right into the buzzsaw.
But you start with a home game against Indiana, 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Home game against the Hoosiers, right? Mike Woodson will bring his squad in. They don't have a Trace Jackson Davis this year.
Nope.
Which has kind of been a bugaboo for Nebraska when they play Indiana at times. This series has also somewhat been pretty even. Indiana's been able to get a couple road wins. You've also been able to win at Assembly Hall once or twice. And in times also Nebraska's been able to get some home wins. Indiana, as we mentioned, an 8 o'clock tip. They currently have, if I can find it, Indiana currently sits at 10-3 overall. Here you are 11-2. You are tied for the most overall wins in the Big Ten Conference with Ohio State. And Indiana, who is 2-0 in the Big Ten Conference, they have defeated.
I love how you just gloss right over that stat. Like Nebraska and Ohio State have the most wins in the Big Ten Conference.
So Indiana has had somewhat of a difficult schedule. They have played UConn, who's a top 5 team in the country. They lost by 20. They escaped Louisville and that dumpster fire of a program. They beat Maryland at home 65-53, and they followed that up with a 3-point win on the road in Ann Arbor against Michigan. So they're 2-0 in the conference, sitting there at 10-3 overall. Their 3 losses have been to ranked teams. UConn by 20, who is number 4 at the time. Top 25 Auburn. They got demolished by the Tigers, 104-76.
Nebraska knows about that from last year.
Darn right. And then after that Auburn game, Indiana hosted at Assembly Hall the Kansas Jayhawks. And Kansas escaped with a 4-point victory.
That was a good game.
So Kansas wins that game 75-71. Well, now Indiana travels to Lincoln. And I think if you're Nebraska, and I don't think I'm shocking anybody by giving this take, you're thrilled that this is a home game. There's been multiple years where you've had to go on the road in one of your first Big Ten Conference games to Assembly Hall. But Nebraska gets the Hoosiers at home, and at 8 p.m. tip is a good thing. You're not having to deal with the late arriving crowds of people getting off of work. You're not having to deal on TV, also, where there can be a lot of eyeballs on you because everybody's done with dinner. Everybody's relaxing. Everybody's fine, ready to just kind of unwind. They're ready to watch college basketball in general. Indiana and Nebraska, the 8 p.m. tip-offs are a good thing, especially when they're a home game. Pinnacle Bank Arena. You can come downtown right after work. You can come downtown shortly after you get off, have a couple beverages, go over to PBA, and watch the Huskers against Indiana.
Hopefully a good way to end your night.
You don't have to have the late arriving crowds of people getting there with 15 or 14 minutes left in the first half. The energy's kind of down to begin with, and so forth and so on.
People aren't rushing to get off of work and get some food in their bellies before they head to PBA and trying to find their seats and all of that. It should be pretty well the seats should be pretty well stocked by the time the game starts.
So Indiana, Nebraska, right? Then Nebraska follows that up with next.
One more thing is as you were saying, they're thrilled for this game to be at home. Another reason, you've only had 2 true road games.
Yeah.
At Minnesota in a game that you gave away, and at Kansas State in a game which you dominated. So if you were to go up to Indiana and play at Assembly Hall against a very good Hoosier team, I feel like that would probably be the most raucous environment that you would face so far, and that would be a rough way to start off the new year.
So, and you also have the neutral site game mixed in there against Oregon State.
Yeah, it's a home game.
But nonetheless, right? It's the Indiana, Nebraska. Then you go on the road to top 25 Wisconsin before the big one next Tuesday. A week from tonight, Nebraska. I think there's a lot of Husker fans that are hoping that Nebraska, once again, if you want to separate these, we can do the same thing, same conversation type with we did with the 4-game slate of like Creighton, Minnesota, Kansas State, Michigan State. Michigan State was then Kansas State. We can have the same conversation. Break it up and look at it into segments, right? In these next 3 games, it's Indiana at home, Nebraska on the road, Purdue at home. Even if you wanted to go 2, I think you hope Nebraska goes 1-1 against Indiana and Wisconsin.
Which would you rather have?
I think Indiana.
Not a ranked Wisconsin team. Are they still ranked?
Yes, they are. I think Indiana's a fringe team anyway.
Yeah. You want to win at home.
So I think there's that.
Feel like a win on the road against a ranked team
but
might
then
do
you have
a
a home
little
loss.
bit. But then, yeah.
So you have a home loss.
Tough.
But nonetheless,
Yeah,
right?
keep going.
You would be then, hypothetically speaking, 2-2 going into the Purdue matchup. Number 1 Purdue at home, 8 p.m. tip. If Nebraska is fortunate enough to where they beat Indiana, where they're able to top Wisconsin on the road, you're talking about a 13-2 ball club, 3-1 in the Big Ten Conference.
Some serious momentum.
Big momentum, big opportunity, right? Think about not to put the cart before the horse, if you will, but think about the last time you brought in a top 5 team or a top 10 team into Pinnacle Bank Arena. It was the Creighton game. Get that bad taste out of your mouth. And while it can start on Wednesday against Indiana, take care of business these first 2 conference games, the when you're getting into the bulk of conference play. I always have to remind myself that they've already played conference games. But
this is
this feels like the start. This feels like the start of truly Big Ten conference
when
play.
you say it's Big Ten conference play, everybody understands that this from here on out, it's just the Big Ten conference.
There's no more warm-up games with Stony Brook.
You're not getting a South Carolina State.
I wish we could just score. We could just go, North Dakota every night.
Please and thank you.
Please. Even Kansas State each night.
Look, I'll take
That'll
other,
work.
I'll take other Big Ten teams shooting like Kansas State did.
Yeah, I am really interested just on the Big Ten basketball, just widen out the scope a little bit. I am interested in what Illinois looks like going forward. They have a matchup tonight against Northwestern. Illinois is a 5-point favorite, obviously without Terrence Shannon Jr.
Still favored
against one of the best guards in the conference in the country in Boo Buie. But Illinois is going to be interesting because I will. Obviously, without Terrence Shannon Jr. for the rest of the way, because of his off-court stuff, it'll be interesting to see how Illinois responds.
I mean, that's what 22 points, 6 rebounds.
They had a cakewalk over the weekend without Terrence Shannon Jr. and they were fine. I think they played Fairleigh Dickinson. Now here comes Big Ten conference play and Northwestern, who's a pretty good ball team.
Yeah,
with Chris Collins at the helm. Let's take another timeout. When we return. Husker women's basketball got the victory over Maryland over the weekend. They'll get ready for their matchups against Wisconsin on the road on Thursday and against Indiana at Pac PBA on Sunday at 1 o'clock. So we'll dive into that. We'll get back into college football as well. All that leading up to the crossover with Strick and Austin, because we got to give our Detroit Pistons update. We have to give our Detroit Pistons update at some point.
We started it. It must continue.
Yep. And we'll continue that, and we'll do the rest of the happy hour coming up in just a few minutes on 93.7 The Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The Electrical Workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I vomited last night.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I literally vomited. I threw up.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Rico with you once again. How about the Husker women's basketball team, huh? Oh, get a big win against the Terps?
Take that, Maryland.
Brendan Fries had high praise for Natalie Potts.
She is starting her Husker career off very strong. I believe she's 2-time Big Ten Freshman of the Week. She's got like 4 double-doubles in a row, points, rebounds, double-doubles. Her and Alexis Markowski are a pretty nice force, nice little duo underneath in the paint there for Nebraska. And Darian White, 500 career assists.
Oh, how about that?
There you go. Alexis Markowski has 1,000 career points and how many rebounds? I don't remember how many rebounds. She hit a milestone in rebounds. And Darian White, 500 career assists. Look at that. Just career milestones getting stepped over this season for the Nebraska women. Again, a big win over Maryland at home the other day.
Well, yesterday.
2 days it wasn't ago. Yesterday.
New Year's Eve.
2 days ago.
New Year's Eve. Nonetheless,
today's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday. There's one. We got asked on the text line by Sean what the current Nebraska-Indiana spread is. Not announced yet. Not announced yet. It's going to be on Wednesday. So the OG CJ asks, Rico, are you going to be covering the Supernovas?
I went to the name unveil. I've been to a couple other events of theirs. I'm gonna be trying to cover the Supernovas and go into as many matches as I can down in Omaha. They signed 4 of their 5 first-round picks.
They did
already. So shout out to the new rookie class for the Supernovas.
Yep.
Their first round pick, I think is 7th overall. She's gonna be playing overseas.
Okay.
So they only signed 4 of their 5 picks.
There you go. Yeah. So Supernovas, you might hear them.
Yeah, we'll talk about them.
We'll have conversations. We've had Diane Mendenhall on here.
We have.
We've had Gina Mancuso-Prasovsky.
We have had
Daniel Hart.
Yep.
We've had a couple Supernovas folks on here.
We've got some other people.
We're gonna have more.
We should get their coach on at some point.
I think we should.
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's anyway, you're hearing plans for the show in real time here.
This is
how we
meeting.
do it.
The show meeting. Let's talk about it.
We should have one of those.
We should. We will.
We've never had a show meeting. Anyway, well, once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line open for you guys. Diving back into college football, just a reminder here, this weekend coming up is somewhat of a big weekend when you have Nebraska football hosting at least one recruit in Dante Dowdle, the Oregon running back transfer, will be on campus this weekend. Also, Jamal Banks, the Wake Forest transfer wide receiver, is reportedly trying to set a visit. May have confirmed it by now, trying to get here over the weekend. He also is planning to visit Michigan because
don't do that.
He played high school football with 3 or 4, maybe even 5 current Wolverines.
Don't do that.
So let's not do that.
Cancel that visit.
Cancel the visit right now.
Please and thank you.
There's
Nebraska
also,
first, no Michigan. Especially considering that they're playing for a national title next week. Don't visit them.
Yeah, you don't want to distract them.
Yeah, what are you doing, man? They're not even going to be there. They're going to be at wherever the national championship is.
As a collective group, are we all cheering for Washington?
So I think I was alone in cheering for Alabama.
No, you were not, actually.
I was cheering for Washington and Alabama because
I was not.
Now there's a part of me here where this is the weird part of me. I thought that Washington has a better chance at beating Alabama than Michigan. So that was a part of it where I wanted Washington to win. But I also just don't want Michigan in the national championship or to win it or have a chance to win it because A, they're annoying, and B, they cheated. And it's
people
just like,
seem to forget that.
Yeah, like it's just like nothing happened.
We had the suspension of Jim Harbaugh, and everybody's like, all right, your sins are forgiven.
Yeah, like he was, people forget, he was suspended for the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah, for lying.
He came back. He was suspended for the last 3 regular season games. And people are just like, wow, look at Michigan. They're so great. Michigan versus everybody. I saw that they were talking about it in the pregame. The Michigan players like, yeah, Michigan versus everybody is just, it's just our cry to we're just trying really hard to show that we belong and do all that. They're playing like they're an underdog. I'm like, you're undefeated. You're the Big Ten champions. You also cheated. You're not underdogs. People don't like you because you did something you weren't supposed to do. This isn't like, oh, we don't like you because you I don't know, for whatever reason. Like, you cheated. That's why people are rooting against you. People aren't rooting against you just to root against you. You were bad. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Rico. I was looking at just other transfer portal wide receivers, and I've come across Rutgers got obviously the commitment from Ethan Kaliak-Manis today.
You had a very concerned look on your face. What's happening?
Rutgers also received a commitment from a wide receiver from Minnesota named Dino Kaliak-Manis.
No.
Both Ethan and Dino.
Is that his brother?
Has to be.
Cousin?
Twin brother.
Twin brother.
Both of them are redshirt sophomores.
Have you ever heard of Dino?
I had no clue Ethan Kaliak-Manis had a twin brother.
Well,
maybe just brother. Dino Kaliak-Manis.
I mean, if they're both juniors,
has decided to go from Minnesota to Rutgers.
Unless they're Irish twins.
Maybe.
Like if they're both juniors, redshirt juniors, it'd have to be the same age, right?
They're both.
Which
Yeah,
would make them
they're
twins.
both from Antioch, Illinois. Here, let's see. Let's check out the bio. Son of Alex and Colleen, has 3 siblings: Dino, Amarissa, and Andrea.
There you go.
Father Alex wrestled in college at Seton Hall University. Brother Dino is a receiver with the Gophers.
There you go. Didn't know that.
Had
I guess
no
we
clue.
gotta read into the bio.
We gotta
more.
look at bios more. Oh well.
Is Dino his real name?
Has Dino done anything?
No. We would have heard of Dino Kaliak. They would have mentioned it on many a broadcast. His brother is also a receiver, kick returner, punter, something.
Dino Kaliak-Manis, 0 catches.
There you go.
Did not play. He played in the game against Colorado back on September 17th.
Package deal.
A game where Minnesota won 49-7.
And he didn't get in?
And did not get a catch.
Dino.
Cleaned up a little better than Ethan is. But all right, let's go ahead and take our final timeout. We'll bring in Austin and Strick, give a Detroit Pistons update coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
It's phishing season. Bad actors are trolling your business emails, luring you and your employees to take the bait and steal your private information. Make sure your cybersecurity keeps your business from being the catch of the day. At Hamilton, cybersecurity is our business. We are experts at keeping your network and business information secure and off the hook. Contact Hamilton for a vulnerability assessment today. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
This is Jeff Essing, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends. Right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln. Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy new year. They are thankful for many things from 2023 and hope that 2024 brings prosperity for you and starts off well for everyone in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting mainly sunny skies. We'll see an afternoon high of around 39. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with patchy fog is possible. Late, we'll see a low around 20. And tomorrow, more patchy, even freezing fog possible as well, especially in the morning. Then mainly sunny skies with the high around 35. Meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Look at me. This plane is going to Jamaica.
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We bring in Strick and Austin. Boys, what's up?
Happy New Year.
Feels like forever since I've seen you guys. It was last year already.
Are you talking as well as you can, or are you putting on this facade?
No, it was actually worse yesterday. I could I
Party
sounded
a little too hard.
My man had a good New Year.
I sounded like a strangled Muppet.
Okay.
Just imagine what that sounded like, right?
I can imagine. Go ahead and talk a little bit more. I'm kidding.
Right now, I sound like is it
You sound like out of breath Patrick Mahomes.
No,
yeah,
no, the Godfather, Marlon Brando.
Yeah,
I need you to
actually
say
sound like him.
I need you to say, "You come to me today, the day of my daughter's wedding."
You come to me today, the day of my daughter's wedding.
Thank you.
There it is.
That's all I need.
we just got to clip that. Oscar. All right, so listen, we have not been able to talk about a couple of things. First off, on a personal note, thoughts and prayers from all of us here at 93.7 The Ticket
Japan
to Japan for the earthquake, but also to the Gretna community.
Yes.
I have not been able to talk about this yet. Brad Feakin, the head coach of Gretna boys basketball, passed away unfortunately over the weekend after a battle with cancer. Coach Feakin was an incredible man. Through just a couple of my conversations with him, he's such an amazing coach to be around. Just a really, really good guy. And I was really sad to see over the weekend that he lost his battle with cancer, but then give credit to Gretna and the team, because they were able to go out. They defeated their opponent last second shot by Landon Pekorski, who's kind of been a guy that he's been with his entire basketball career. And Pekorski, one of the leaders of that Gretna Dragons team. And now he hit a buzzer beater to win the game on the day of their coach's death. It's just incredible. You can't make it up. You cannot make it up. So just wanted to put that out there, that the heart, thoughts and prayers. And although that doesn't help right now, thoughts and prayers go to the Gretna community, Gretna High School, Gretna boys basketball, as they mourn the unfortunate death of their coach, Brad Feakin. We're actually going to have Gretna on the station Saturday. We'll have their girls and boys game coming up this Saturday from Lincoln North Star. So we'll have those two games. We have games Thursday, game Friday night, and then a doubleheader Saturday. And so so you can't make it up, and it's incredibly sad. So just thoughts and prayers there. Wanted to make sure we take a second and acknowledge that, and just make sure people are aware of what's going on in the state of the community, or in the community in the surrounding area. Okay, back to the NBA here. Detroit Pistons. How about this, guys? Little update from Detroit.
Here's our Pistons update.
There was trades that didn't necessarily directly involve the Detroit Pistons.
We don't need to talk about
the Knicks are now the proud home of OG Anunoby, former Indiana Hoosier,
and RJ's home.
And RJ Barrett, not the Knicks. RJ Barrett goes to Toronto.
Played a good game
on the day.
That's the bigger piece.
Yeah, people forget about Emmanuel Quickly.
Quickly's the bigger piece.
And on the day that the trade was made, the Raptors played the Pistons. And on that day, the Detroit Pistons won their third game of the season, 129-127, and they defeat the Toronto Raptors. Since then, they lost 136-113. But now the Pistons are 3-30 overall this year.
28-game losing streak snapped.
Just like that.
And they're going to start another one already.
All it took for the Pistons to win was the Lions to get screwed.
I know. I said that. So Nick texts me in Austin, and it's just like, the Pistons are going to do it. The Pistons are going to do it. And I said, if the Pistons win, the Lions lose. That's just how this works. You know this, right? And sure enough,
Jerry Jones wasn't letting the Cowboys lose.
That was one of the biggest con jobs I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you, Strick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why?
Thank you.
I was off topic.
I didn't see a problem with it.
The Pistons losing streak or the Lions?
I didn't have an
No,
issue.
he's saying thank you.
I'm being serious. Thank you for telling the truth.
That is the biggest,
Let the people know.
unbelievable con job I've ever seen in my life.
He didn't.
And
he
they
didn't
write back on ESPN this weekend.
He didn't check
you
in.
serious?
He didn't
They
report.
write
He didn't report as eligible. I don't know what you guys. I
Boy,
didn't see anything
he
wrong.
did right to the.
And he said number 70 reported.
No.
Number 70 was right there. So obviously
they put Brad Allen and his crew right back out there.
They just
3:30 Steelers Ravens game.
Wow.
ESPN.
Big game.
So the Ravens are going to lose.
That same crew also refed the
Packers
Chiefs Packers game and one other. The Eagles Dolphins game.
Yep.
Where there were 10 penalties on Miami and none on Philly.
Lots
I think
of weird stuff with that crew. Lots
crazy.
of weird stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
In the words of Eric,
No, are they getting excommunicado?
They must
from
not
the
be.
playoffs?
They must not be.
Well, the playoffs haven't started yet.
Well, the playoffs haven't started
There's
yet.
no
I
way.
think they're getting out of the
No,
playoffs.
there's no way that crew is a playoff crew.
they already got banned from that. They said they're out.
I
But
did
then
hear
why
that.
are you allowing them on the regular season?
Well, because they're
there's a
part
lot
of
of
those.
games.
Yeah,
That's
there's
my
a lot
point, though.
there's a lot of
Why
games.
are you allowing them? There's reserves. There are reserve crews.
And it's not like you can't say this game doesn't matter.
Bingo.
Like, it
That's
doesn't
a big
because,
game.
because yes, Baltimore has the Division 1. They're probably going to be resting players. But if Pittsburgh wins and Jacksonville wins, guess what? Doesn't matter what Buffalo does. They're out of the playoffs.
Well, and here's
Or if
the
they
thing.
lose, they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Is like there are plenty of crews just waiting in the wings for their opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is 3 times that you've had controversial things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's not a playoff Playoff. Just because it's not a playoff does not mean that you can just
It's not important, right.
lower the standard of what it means to be an NFL ref.
I mean, it's already been determined that the Steelers won't have a losing record. So that's, we're all fine and dandy there. The Ravens already locked up the 1 seed. This game doesn't matter. That's what the NFL's saying. They're like, it's fine. Throw these guys out there for one more game. It's fine.
Regional crew, keep them
it's
home.
bad. It's bad. It's very bad.
Staying in football with college football before we get out of here. I don't know if you guys saw this. So the guy I like probably the least ever from Michigan football is Chase Winovich.
Yes. I know where you're going with this.
Chase Winovich and Connor Stallions were in the stands of the Rose Bowl last night.
Of course.
Together.
Former Patriot Chase Winovich.
That's right. Former Michigan Wolverine linebacker that said Nebraska just wasn't ready to play.
They just didn't. They were scared.
They were scared. But,
you could look at their eyes.
I looked across the line and I was like, all right, well, these guys don't really want to be here. They dominated.
Whoa.
They dominated Nebraska.
They did. That's
Rock bottom.
savage. That's savage.
Yeah,
that was rough.
But anyway, so Chase Winovich was at the game with Connor Stallions, posted it, and Connor Stallions' look was just that of somebody who's probably pretty filthy rich right now, but just has the most arrogance in the world. Sickening. I mean, I was just like, come on, man. They cheated.
And nobody is.
Go Washington.
And people are just
go Washington,
sweeping it under the rug. Everybody's just like, wow, look at Michigan and Washington in the college football playoff and Big Ten team and a future Big Ten team. I'm like, Michigan shouldn't be there.
Which it does stink. I'll be honest here, because Blake Corum is exceptional. Like we've had Blake Corum on the airwaves from Big Ten Media Days. Mm-hmm. Like he's a special running back. JJ McCarthy has done his job, and there's a lot of pieces
pretty good yesterday
on that Michigan roster that are really, really talented. That it's going to take away from what they're doing because your head coach was suspended for 6 games throughout the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Head coach has also been created this Michigan against everybody attitude when there's just facts to back up the fact that people are against you.
People hate us.
I think you use it. I mean, I agree with you. I understand the sentiment, but I also would just give pushback by saying, what other way would you do it if you're a coach?
I understand that.
I understand that. Yeah. I totally would take the moniker of it and just
bulletin board,
own it and use it as major fodder.
It worked for Northwestern too.
Yeah.
Yes.
We see these 2 Big Ten teams, with all the facts in the world against them, that doesn't matter to that locker room, right? That's what a coach's job is get the pulse of his locker room.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? What fires them up? Obviously, they're playing for Harbaugh. Obviously, they love the man, they respect the man, and they're invested in his reputation, his legacy. So he said Michigan versus everybody. Okay, coach, it's Michigan versus everybody. We're buying into that.
Here's what I will say, though. You ready?
Go ahead.
I am glad that Florida State wasn't in it. I'm just going to be honest.
Oh, there you go, Stricky.
I'm just going to be It's honest.
I'm on the same boat.
2024 honesty.
You think they got it right?
You and I are
got
both
it right, bro.
We're in the unpopular opinion, but I completely agree.
But guys, if they were in it, none of those guys opt out.
It doesn't matter.
And then maybe they put up a bigger
mentality. There's a mentality and an energy that you need to bring, whether you're playing in the Orange Bowl or whether you're playing in the playoff, and they didn't have it.
They didn't want to be there.
Then why not boycott it?
Hey, if all the SEC teams can say it, why can't Florida State say it?
Here's the issue. Both teams had qualms.
Mm-hmm.
They both had means. Georgia had the same amount of means.
That's a great point because you saw how Georgia handled it.
Right.
See, but I understand the whole Georgia didn't want to be there, but at the same time,
Georgia did want to be there. They told you as much.
When they lost, with that final loss, they knew that they weren't getting into the playoff. Florida State thought they still had a chance to get in the playoff.
I get what you're saying.
Which should piss them off more.
So Georgia going to this bowl game,
I would want to show you even the more.
But then everybody from Florida State's like, we should be in the playoff. I don't want to play in this game. Georgia's like, we lost this game.
That's an issue.
We're gonna do this to show you that we still should have been whatever they wanted to do. I feel like I get what you're saying and I agree with you, but at the same time, there's just different attitudes in those locker rooms.
I thought Georgia responded truly like a
champion,
a national championship program.
Facts, a program.
I thought Florida State did it, and now I don't know
what they do from here.
I don't.
Well, they got DJ. They're set.
They got DJ Uiagalelei.
Oh, they're good. Mike Norvell's gonna,
but they don't have Keon Coleman. They
They
don't
lose
have
Jared Verse.
they don't have a couple defenders. I also am curious.
Trey Benson's back, right?
About their.
I don't know. Pretty sure he's back.
I think. I also, but on a bigger picture, I think it's going to be dramatically difficult for any non-SEC or Big Ten schools to get in. I just do.
It's 12 teams.
They're going to get in.
They're going to get
as far
in.
as win.
But the
Do you
respect,
mean actually?
the respect, the actual, like, because we're going to have conversations now next year. Like, not only did I say, like, we're going to have conversations between like a one-loss, Power 5 team or an undefeated Group of 5 program. Like, Liberty didn't show up, and that was like the Group of 5 collective. Like, this is our team this year.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show up.
Now, did they not show up, or was Oregon just?
And maybe it's a little bit of both for Oregon's offense, but but my point is this: like next year, right? We're going to be sitting here saying, "All right, who deserves home field advantage?" Does an ACC school, when Clemson's down, like Cade Klubnik did not look like. I don't think Cade Klubnik's good. Now, when I look at it, it's like, all right, are you going to value an undefeated? It's going to be a similar situation when we're talking home field advantage and buys.
Mm-hmm.
Are you valuing the ACC conference champion, or are you going to value a one-loss Big Ten runner-up? And I just have a very difficult time in the changing landscape with the TV networks, with all the money tied into it, just like people want to say that it was a conspiracy theory this year. What's to say it's not gonna be the same deal next year when we're talking home field advantage? Yeah, Florida State will make it in, but okay, have fun playing at wherever.
But I think
have fun playing at Ohio State. Have fun playing at Oregon, having to make a cross country trip. Like maybe they're good enough to win. Who knows? But man, it just feels like such an uphill climb for anybody not in the Big Ten or SEC.
I think it's different depending on if it's undefeated Clemson or undefeated Florida State versus
There's that too.
Like the Pitt Wake Forest year we had a couple of years ago, right? Those teams will likely be undervalued, even though they might deserve the same respect. Clemson has the name brand. Florida State, I know they got left out, but they have enough of a name brand. Miami, if they ever get back there, will have the name brand and not get left out. I'll throw this out there too. Your Oregon Liberty example. Liberty wasn't the class of the Group of 5 all year, but Tulane just lost the wrong game. Remember, Tulane gave Ole Miss a game in Oxford. They were the ones, and they lost the wrong game. They lost SMU in their shot. SMU turns around, gets its butt whooped by Virginia Tech. We saw what happened with Oregon and Liberty, which here's the thing. Bo Nix is that dude, right? Like, let's not forget that. Broke Mac Jones' single season completion record by a few hundredths of a point. But that's another, potential issue with the 12-team playoff, is that you still don't necessarily get the best Group of 5 team.
Yeah.
It's who lost at the right time or who won the right game more than anything. But it's also my gripe with, let me shoehorn this in here real quick as we get into some basketball conference play starting. It's my biggest gripe with the NCAA tournament is that it's the conference tournament champion who gets the auto bid, not the regular season champion who gets the auto bid. So
I like that.
So many mid-major conference winners have missed the NCAA tournament with 28, 29, 30 wins because they lose their conference tournament final.
You get that 11-18 team.
I remain firmly planted on the side that regular season conference champion goes to the NCAA tournament, and the conference tournament is used to improve seeding.
It does make it tough.
Why not both?
It does make it tough in college football if you were to do something like that, because when you get into conferences that have 18 teams, 20 teams, and so on, you're going to have tiebreakers. You need tiebreakers, which you're going to need that there might be 3 undefeated teams that need to go to the championship game. So I mean, there's certainly ways and tiebreakers that you can implement to make decisions like that statistically. I think it's going to be tough, guys. I really think if you're not, I'll ask you guys this.
Wait, I got a question, but I'm gonna let you ask.
Who has?
I don't want us to go before I ask my question. That's all.
Okay.
Who has more respect nationally right now?
As far as
ACC or Big 12?
That was one of the questions I was going to ask, but I was going to add overall. Go ahead.
ACC or Big 12?
It's the
Big
ACC,
12.
and I don't think it's particularly that close.
Hold on. Is it the ACC
across the
when
board?
Clemson is good?
The ACC has Clemson, Florida State.
Yep.
Miami's working its way back. Carolina's been in those conversations.
Stop it.
Carolina.
The
Stop
Big
it.
12
Phony.
has
Phony.
no
Fraudulent.
championship pedigree. Texas and Oklahoma are gone. When have Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Baylor,
Kansas is on the way, baby.
Hold on.
Kansas is on the way,
Hold
baby.
on. In the last 20 years, who besides Clemson has a championship pedigree in the ACC?
I'm just saying, ACC's in the Southeast.
I get that.
That's where the pedigree to me comes from. That people will look at Clemson's track record. They'll say Florida State got left out. There's the talent advantage. They're like, here's the thing. I prefer the Big 12. That is a lot of 7 to 10 win teams that is fun week in, week out. There's not a single national championship contender in that group.
I would agree. I think I agree with the ACC piece. I think I agree with that. My thing is this. Like, I look at the Big 12. If Arizona is able to continue this upward trajectory, if Kenny Dillingham can get ASU into like a 6-win team, you have Utah and Kyle Whittingham, who's been in a fringe playoff team for years. You have
watch out BYU.
Watch out,
you
watch
have
out, watch
Cincinnati, who is a group of 5 team to make the playoff. Like, now Cincinnati's down. I get that. Willie Fritz.
Why did they hire Scott Satterfield?
Well, that's a problem.
That's the question.
Willie Fritz is at Houston now, which could be really fascinating.
Houston could be a fascinating opportunity.
That's where you have Chris.
UCF has KJ Jefferson.
You always have. I mean, you have Chris Kleiman at K-State. You have Lance Leipold. Why do I say Leipold? Leipold at Kansas. I agree with you. You have a lot of those 7 to 10 wins. Maybe you strike gold and you get an 11 win or maybe a 12 win season. I just don't think there's a whole lot of national respect for the ACC. I just don't, especially when Clemson has a down year.
Okay, national respect or college football playoff respect? Because I think those are two different conversations.
Okay, college football playoff respect.
The ACC will get more college football respect than the Big 12 will, just because of, again, even if they're not there year in and year out, because of the Clemsons, the Florida States, the Miamis. Hell, the Wake Forest had that one year. They're still getting a little bit of love. Pittsburgh, every once in a while, we'll jump into that. I think that from top to bottom, I like the Big 12 more. But in terms of respect, in terms of teams that could actually do something in the college football playoff, I'm leaning ACC.
This is my point. Let's just take the ACC this year. Florida State was the only team that you can truly consider for the playoff.
Yep.
Florida State was the only team. Louisville, not good towards the end of the year. NC State was not there.
Terrible.
Georgia Tech, absolutely not. Virginia Tech, absolutely not. Clemson, absolutely not. Duke, no.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, phony. Miami, bad. Those are your top 8 teams. You're getting one considered for the playoff. Where then we go to the Big 10.
12.
Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. Those are your 3. But then if you want to bring in the new conferences, Washington, Oregon, those are all considered, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in a top 12 or if you're in a 12-team playoff, I'm trying to think like, okay, what changes? If you're using this year, Nebraska or the Big 10 gets 5 in. There's 5 at your 12.
5 or 6, maybe. 5 or 6, maybe.
No,
Penn State's the fringe. Where Penn State,
that's
where I see.
There's
like,
still 4 other auto bids though.
But I'm sitting here going like,
your
okay,
auto bids are your conference champions,
Look
right?
at the SEC. Look at the SEC.
Because your auto bids are your conference champions. So
because if you have 5 Big 10, you have Big 12, ACC.
Yeah.
Group of 5. The group of 5
Group
champion.
of 5.
The best group of 5 is an auto.
Are we going 5 Big 10? Are we going 4 SEC and 3 everyone else?
I think you're going to have that.
Who are the top? It's Bama, Georgia.
I don't think it's going to be like
LSU, Ole Miss.
Georgia.
LSU's not in.
I don't even think they.
I don't think LSU's
LSU,
in.
then Ole Miss.
Missouri.
Then it's Ole Miss, Missouri.
Was the
Ole Miss,
outlier this year.
Well, there's your 4. There's your 4.
There you go. That's
tough.
where we're going, and that's my point exactly. Is like it feels like such
And it
an
might switch.
It's such an you might have 5
5
SEC,
Penn State,
4 Big 10.
Penn State
You
have
have
2
such-
losses, right?
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing though, is because then that's the point is where Ole Miss and Penn State in this case were 11 and 12, right? And you're going to have to decide as a committee, is a 2-loss Penn State team more deserving than an undefeated group of 5 team? Is a 1-loss Ole Miss team more deserving than a group of 5 team that's undefeated or has 1 loss?
Well, your
because
group of
you're
5
always
team's auto.
hold on. No. You're always going to have this
that debate.
You're always going to have this fringe team that of a group of 5 where it's like, man, if Tulane lost by 1 point to Ole Miss, or Toledo lost by on a last second Hail Mary to Illinois, well, are you going to value that over the rest? And I just see such a tough hill to climb.
So you
for
still
ACC,
think it's going to be ugly?
Big 12. Oh,
it's just going to get worse.
Instead of
it's like getting more money.
I think it's good because we've
the
seen
things you did with less money. You're just doing more with more. That's what you're saying.
We get reminded every year that like, hey, the playoff games are great, and we get reminded why like more playoff games are going to be better next year. But I think also, and this is what I said when the whole Florida State debacle was going on. Instead of debating who should be 4 and who should be 5, we're going to be debating who's 12 and who should be 13.
Exactly.
It's always going to be a case.
Here's my other controversial college football playoff opinion. The group of 5 champion gets a home game.
And I'd be okay
with
that.
Group of 5 champ gets a home game.
I'm okay with that.
It's just like the NFL playoffs, right? You win a weak
okay
division, you still get your home game. Yep. You get your top 4 seed. Give the group of 5 team a home game. But if it's the 8-9, that's fine. But they get a home game.
I completely understand. Like the group of 5 get gets the automatic bid. But the point stands. You're going to have one group of 5 team that's undefeated, and they're going to be in. But then it's okay. Do we value a 1-loss? So somebody
Toledo, Tulane
over a 2-loss Penn State.
Yeah,
and I just see such a tough time for them. And then you want to throw in like a Notre Dame, who's an independent.
I want to add into that conversation.
It just makes it so difficult.
I still want to add into that conversation of does the addition of the 12 add value to what we've been seeing all across the board is just a huge dropout of people not wanting to play these games. Are you going to see a slow shift, or do you think you see a massive shift of guys basically saying, I got a shot at a natty and I'm going to stay in and fight it out because as long as the shot's there. So these games are going to be more important.
I think they're playing.
You'll see. I don't think you'll see very little opt-outs from anybody that makes the 12-team playoff. There might be a couple here and there from guys that are like, if you're like the number 1 overall pick and your team's a 10 seed, maybe. But even then, you still have a chance. You're still in the playoff.
Yeah.
Those games are just so high risk, high reward, especially for those fringe guys, because if you play well, you really elevate your draft stock. Yeah. But if you get hurt or you don't play well, it sinks you.
Yeah. I'm also just going to be really interested at some point here, if guys start playing in bowl games, and this is like a conversation for like way down the road, probably, or maybe
tomorrow,
maybe it's quicker. Maybe it's quicker than like we want to acknowledge it coming. Incentives, and not through schools, but through NIL deals. Like let's say I was to partner,
bonuses.
Let's say I was to partner with 93.7 The Ticket, and if I'm playing in the national championship game, I get interviewed after the game, and it's like, or I make a social media post from the game, from the post-game celebration. Incentives to where they sign them in their NIL deals at the start to then say, oh crap, that's part of the contract. That's part of a potential deal, is that I can make an extra 20 grand by playing in the bowl game, by making it known, by doing 3 sponsored posts. And I can make an extra 20 grand, but I have to play in that bowl game. I think that's something that's coming down the road here with 12-team playoffs, because you're going to be able to get so many more people to try to play in games that quote unquote matter. You could technically do it right now with the bowl games, but like it doesn't mean a whole lot playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
It does in the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
And so like at the end of the day, if you're playing in the semis, all right, maybe I make $5 grand for doing it in the quarterfinals. Then I make another 5 doing it for the semis. And if I make it to the national title, I make another 10. Every single time, knock it out. Hey, support us. Here we are. We're getting ready. Here's what the hotel lobby looks like. Here's what I do in the day of life of a game. Here's what I do the day before hotel. The day before a game. These incentives that we see coaches making, I don't see it being too long when you have 12 teams in it with NIL companies, not the school, because then it'd be technically pay for play and all that, to where it's like, hey, we'll give you an extra $2 grand if you throw out 3 sponsored posts. Now, is the $2 grand a whole lot? Probably not, but it's something, right? There's incentives on whatever scale you want to make it, whatever amount.
And bowl games aren't paying that.
No,
No, bowl games don't have that budget.
No,
so it's going to have to be those kind of independent NIL deals.
And it's great. It's great that you get your little bonuses and your little gift bags and all that. Like Sony had the PlayStation 5 for everybody a couple years ago, and that's awesome.
And
so what do you think about the
sponsoring bowl games?
Yeah, and you can also consider empty stands.
Bingo.
So you got to figure a way to get
because the Raw Quest Bowl didn't have a lot of people there.
Yeah,
but we saw last night though. 90, what was it at Rose Bowl? 96?
Oh, it was a
lot.
It was like I think it was like 96.
It was packed. It was
so there you go.
That's the difference between playoff and just regular bowl.
Bingo. And so more bowl games, the better. Or excuse me, more playoff games, the better.
Yes.
All right, that'll do it for us. What's coming up on the show, guys? We went really long.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Oh, we love it. Hey,
we do.
It's been a long break for us though, so it's good to catch up.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. Obviously, the semifinals. We'll start off with Teach Tape Tuesday. A few key plays. What does Strick see in them? How they go down?
Go Jokic.
The New Year's 6 recap. Jokic goes ham. But also kind of what we were just talking about, but a little different. Future Big Ten beat future SEC yesterday. Yeah. Is that a 1-year blip on the radar? Is that a sign of things to come? Who are kind of the top 5 teams in each conference? What does that tell us?
Yeah, there you go. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for hanging out with us for the 2 hours. Don't go anywhere. Strick and Austin coming up next. Right here, 93.7 The Ticket. We will talk to you tomorrow.
We'll see you later.
Adios.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OakStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
Oak Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical work